Up to the sky, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Zay, collectively known as SoCal Uncensored or
SCU! This is Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the worst podcast I've ever been on. Word.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the best podcast you never heard of. My name's Tom. I am your host. Today is Sunday, December the 6th, 2020. I want to thank everybody for watching, listening, and subscribing on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Make sure you're following on social media on all platforms. You can find the show at Catch, Hook, Shoot. Head to patreon.com/catchhookshoot for bonus content, prowrestlingtees.com/catchhookshoot for t-shirts, and catchhookshoot.bigcartel.com for t-shirts and hats that you won't find on Pro Wrestling Tees. And you can find all things Catch, Hook, Shoot on our brand new link tree. It's linktr.ee/catchhookshoot. Find links to every podcasting platform, the web stores, Patreon, all the social media, everything all in one spot. So just head over to linktree/catchhookshoot and get wherever you're trying to go as far as the show goes. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's catchhookshoot@gmail.com. So, starting off the show on a sad note today, unfortunately, this past week, we lost a WWE legend, Hall of Famer, first ever Intercontinental Champion, and the man who created the Royal Rumble match, Pat Patterson, passed away at, by all accounts, from liver failure was his cause of death. I saw some reports saying that he was suffering from cancer. Whatever the cause, it is a huge, huge loss to the wrestling world in general, but especially to WWE. Huge creative force in, all throughout the history of WWE. Like I said, he was the first Intercontinental Champion, created the Royal Rumble match, had influence over so many careers. Widely recognized as the best finish man in wrestling as far as being a producer and coming up with a finish to a match. Pat Patterson was the absolute best by all accounts. So, like I said, huge loss to wrestling in general, but especially to the WWE. So, condolences to Pat's friends and family, and rest in peace, Pat Patterson. So, moving on to the regularly scheduled show here. Let's kick everything off like we always do with the match of the week. So this week's match of the week is from AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday, and I'm talking about the World Championship match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. Fantastic match, which is exactly what I expected from these two guys. It's not the first time we've seen them in the ring together, but they are arguably two of the best in the business, not just in AEW. But Kenny Omega is your new AEW World Champion, and a lot of big things coming out of this match. Don Callis was on commentary for this one, and lended some assistance to Kenny Omega during the match. Helped Omega pull out the victory. Ended up tossing him the microphone, which Omega used to basically knock Moxley out for the most part, then hit the one-winged angel and picked up the victory. And then Omega and Callis left the arena together, and Callis basically told the interviewer that, hey, you want to know what's going on? Tune in, or you'll find out on Tuesday on Impact. So Kenny Omega is confirmed to be making an appearance on Impact Wrestling this coming Tuesday. So we can confirm a working relationship between Impact and AEW, which is huge. I mean, just I'll get more in depth into this a little bit later on in the show, but just, just one of a couple of bombshells that were dropped this past Wednesday, and I'll get into the other one in a minute here. But yeah, match of the week this week, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. If you only see one match this week, make it this one. If you haven't seen it yet, go back and check it out. It's definitely worth watching. So let's keep moving right along here into the next segment of the show, which is my top 3 highlights of the week, and it's called the 3 Count. First up on the 3 Count this week, from Monday Night Raw, the segment we saw with Alexa Bliss, Randy Orton, and The Fiend on a Moment of Bliss, which opened Raw. So, Randy Orton talking about he knows Bray Wyatt very well, and, a few years ago he found Bray Wyatt's weakness and he exploited it. That was the burning down of the Sister Abigail's house, which is still referenced quite a bit during, like, the Firefly Funhouse segments and things like that. And, apparently it was implied that he has found the Fiend's weakness, that being Alexa Bliss. During Moment of Bliss, the lights went out. Obviously the Fiend was about to appear. When the lights came back up, Randy Orton was holding Alexa Bliss. And the Fiend basically, did it almost, not really begging off, but, basically motioning for Randy, like, give her back to me, and that kind of thing, which Randy did. But so apparently Orton has found the Fiend's one weakness, and that would be Alexa Bliss. So we'll have to see how that gets exploited going forward with these two. Number 2 on the 3 Count, Sting returns to TNT for the first time since 2001. Sting made an appearance on AEW Dynamite, and according to Tony Khan, he has signed a multi-year deal with AEW. It was a huge moment. The whole Winter is Coming thing apparently was building up to the debut of Sting on AEW Dynamite. Came out during a segment when Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin were getting a little bit of a beatdown from Team Taz. And, just a huge moment. Probably the biggest moment that AEW's had so far. And, I was definitely not disappointed. I'm a huge Sting mark. I think most everybody knows that. If there's one guy that I follow and that I'm a fan of almost as much or as much as I am The Undertaker, it is Sting. And, let's be honest, just to hear Tony Schiavone scream, "It's Sting!" for the first time on TNT in almost 20 years, that moment in and of itself was worth it. So, like I said, according to Tony Khan, Sting has signed a multi-year deal with AEW, and he is going to be a regular on Dynamite. Now, I don't think that means he's going to be a full-time wrestler. I don't think physically that Sting can do that anymore. It's well documented. He's got neck issues, suffered a pretty bad neck injury in his last match in WWE with Seth Rollins. And so now, according to interviews I've seen with Sting, he says he thinks he can still, go in the ring. I don't know if his own doctors have cleared him, but obviously WWE doctors would never clear him because of his neck issues and his age and things like that. I mean, still, let's face facts. Sting is 61 years old, so he doesn't have a whole lot of matches left in him. But if he can physically get in there and go, and if he gets cleared, I'm sure AEW will sporadically have Sting physically involved in stuff that's going on. But beyond that, as far as him being a regular character, as Tony Khan put it, I could see Sting still doing quite a bit, as almost kind of like an enforcer or things like that. So, I'm very, very excited to see Sting back on TV and to see where this is going to go. Number 3 on the 3 Count, getting back to Pat Patterson, the tributes that we saw on WWE TV this week on NXT and on Smackdown were really, really well done. On Smackdown, they brought out the original Intercontinental Championship belt, the first one that was held by Pat Patterson that he won in that fictitious tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, back in the 70s. But just some really cool tributes to Pat Patterson on WWE TV as well as on social media by all of the WWE superstars. So some really some great ways to honor Pat Patterson this past week. Getting into the the news and rumors of the week here. Starting off Monday Night Raw, Jeff Hardy defeated Elias in a Symphony of Destruction match. This was actually a very good match between these two guys. This was honestly was a contender for match of the week. But yeah, we saw Elias get electrocuted at one point by went to stab Jeff Hardy with the neck of a guitar and ended up jabbing it into a speaker, and sparks were flying. It was a pretty cool spot. Kind of a scary spot at the end of this one. Jeff Hardy hit a swanton from the top of the ring post to the outside of the ring. He had Elias set up on a table, and he landed the swanton perfectly, but when, you know, the table broke through and both men hit the floor, Hardy's head hit the stairs, because it was right at the corner of the ring. So, you know, Jeff Hardy came down hard with the back of his head on the ring steps, but apparently he was fine. You know, that was the end of the match right there, but he, you know, didn't appear to lose consciousness or anything. He was able to get up and walk out under his own power. It's a very scary looking spot, but Jeff Hardy did pick up the win over Elias. Not sure if that's going to be the end of this rivalry, but it was a damn good match. Slapjack from Retribution picked up a win over Ricochet. Kind of a surprise. Retribution has not been real lucky with wins and losses in actual matches, but Slapjack did pick up the win over Ricochet. On Miz TV, we saw Sheamus catch a beatdown from Miz and Morrison. Kind of a preview of what was the main event of the show, which was a tag team match between Miz and Morrison taking on Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. We'll get to that in a minute. Asuka and Lana picked up a win over the women's tag team champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. So this storyline is continuing. I have a feeling at some point, you know, we are going to see Lana. I'm not sure if it's going to be with Asuka. They seem to be working pretty well as a team, but at some point Lana is going to pick up the women's tag team titles, and it's going to just be a crazy fluke victory, because that's just kind of the way this storyline is going right now. But yeah, don't be surprised if you see Lana as a women's tag team champion in the next few weeks. Yeah, Cedric Alexander picked up a victory over Xavier Woods of the New Day, and so yeah, I think you know, that kind of puts the Hurt Business back in contention for the tag titles. Although, interesting spot at the end of this match after Cedric got the win. We saw other members of the Hurt Business, MVP and Shelton Benjamin, get in the ring to congratulate him, and Cedric just kind of left on his own. He seemed like he was in his own little world celebrating his victory, and MVP and Shelton Benjamin were left standing in the ring just looking confused, like, what the hell is he doing? So possibly some dissension in the ranks of the Hurt Business, which I'm not, you know, I'm not a big fan of that. I like the Hurt Business, and they haven't been together that long yet. You know, I don't want to see them split up yet. I want to see, you know, I would like to see something long term with the Hurt Business. I mean, they've only been together a few months. I don't want to see the faction split up. So we'll have to see how that's gonna play out. The triple threat match for the #1 contendership for the TLC pay-per-view, AJ Styles picked up the win over Keith Lee and Matt Riddle, so he'll be taking on Drew McIntyre at TLC for the WWE Championship. Dana Brooke picked up a win over Reckoning, or Mia Yim from Retribution. Now Mia Yim did lose her mask right early on in the match, which, and no big deal. It's not like people didn't know it was Mia Yim. But, you know, the thing with the masks with Retribution, everybody knows who these people are. They've known from the beginning that it was Dominik Dijakovic and, you know, Mia Yim and Shane Thorne and Dio Madden. So I don't know. You know, I mean, yeah, they explained it. You know, Mustafa Ali gave them these new names so they could see what it felt like to be judged based on what they look like and what their name is and that kind of thing. And that's all fine and good, but acknowledge who these people are, you know, because we as fans, we're not stupid. So, you know, just drop the stupid names and the masks and just let these people in Retribution just be the badasses that everybody knows they can be. So, but yeah, so that's just my 2 cents on that. We saw a segment backstage with, you know, again with MVP and Riddle kind of jawing back and forth, and saw Bobby Lashley jump on Riddle. So it looks like Matt Riddle could be the next challenger for the U.S. title. Got the beginnings of a pretty good rivalry there. And in the main event, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus did defeat The Miz and John Morrison by disqualification due to interference by AJ Styles. AJ trying to convince The Miz to cash in the Money in the Bank. For obvious reasons, AJ thinks he could more easily beat The Miz than Drew McIntyre coming up at TLC, but Miz did not cash in, so then that was pretty much the end of Monday Night Raw. Moving on to NXT, Damian Priest and Leon Ruff, the North American champion, defeated Santos Escobar and Raul Mendoza in a tag team match. Cameron Grimes picked up a win over August Gray. Dexter Lumis did attack after the match and took out Cameron Grimes yet again. Jake Atlas picked up a win over Tony Nese. Little bit of a surprise there to me. Tony Nese, former cruiserweight champion. Jake Atlas, obviously, trying to work his way back to another cruiserweight championship match. Saw another appearance from Pat McAfee and his crew, just cutting. McAfee is becoming one of the better promo people in NXT. He's very good on the mic. I don't think NXT promos are as heavily scripted as those on Raw and SmackDown, but McAfee definitely is not doesn't hold anything back in his promos, and like I said, becoming one of the better promo guys in NXT. I saw an interesting segment with Boa and Xia Li. Now, the last several weeks, we saw the letters getting delivered to Xia from Boa, and then we saw a letter get delivered to Boa from an unnamed man who came out after Boa had caught a beatdown from Raquel Gonzalez, and now we see Boa and Xia Li basically being tortured, for lack of a better word, some hooded figure seems to be kind of presiding over all of this. Didn't get too good of a look as to who it is. Couldn't even really tell if it was a man or a woman. So, this is something that's obviously going to play out over the next few weeks, and end in some type of reveal as to who this hooded figure is that's pulling the strings for Boa and Xia Li. Grizzled Young Veterans ended up, they were supposed to have a match against Everrise, but before the match could start, Imperium, Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel came out and took Everrise out and basically took their spot in the match. So we had a tag team match between Grizzled Young Veterans and Imperium, which on paper sounds like a hell of a tag team match. Ended in no contest. Everrise came out later on in the match and took out both teams and then left the arena. So we've got a little three-way rivalry going on here in the tag team division. I'm definitely here for it. These are three great teams, so I'm anxious to see where this one's going to go. Saw another face-off between Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa that did end in a brawl and ended with Thatcher putting Ciampa to sleep basically with a guillotine choke. So that's definitely a match I'm looking forward to seeing. Shotzi Blackheart picked up a win in a ladder match over Raquel Gonzalez to get the War Games advantage, and it was revealed that the fourth member of her team will be the NXT Women's Champion, Io Shirai. So I'm going to get into the full preview and everything for the War Games pay-per-view coming up tonight in just a few minutes. But first, let's talk about what happened on SmackDown this past Friday. Saw a really good in-ring promo between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. I mean, Roman has become much better on the mic since he has been a heel. Now, granted, he's got Paul Heyman as a mouthpiece, but, just Roman's attitude and the stuff that he says, it's much more believable than it has been in the past. So he has definitely, upped his game as far as his mic skills go, 100%. And, him and KO had just an awesome segment to open SmackDown. We saw Natalya pick up a win over Bayley. Kind of a surprise, a little bit of an upset. Bayley's been on a little bit of a losing streak lately, and it appears Bayley's next opponent is going to be Bianca Belair, which should be an amazing match between those two. Bianca is, I think obviously primed to be the next big star of the women's division, and she is going to be a champion sooner rather than later. And I think, for her first really big, solid rivalry, I think Bayley's a great choice for her. Then we saw a tribute match to Pat Patterson, the current Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn, and 5 former Intercontinental Champions, all in a 6-man tag team match. On one side, you had Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Rey Mysterio, Daniel Bryan and Big E. Big E had some new theme music, and they brought back the chalk bowl at the top of the stage. If you remember the beginning of Big E's career, that was his kind of his thing. You know, the weightlifting chalks up his hands and does the big clap at the top of the stage and leaves the big cloud of chalk in the air as he's walking to the ring. So that was brought back. I'm waiting to see if they're going to bring back the 5 count, because that was Big E's thing when he was in NXT. So, yeah, Big E definitely being kind of broken away from his New Day persona and, you know, becoming an entity unto himself, making him more of a solo performer. We saw another pretty good promo between Carmella and Sasha Banks. Now, they were separated, not in the same place. It was, just a video conference, basically. But, yeah, so that match is obviously coming up at the TLC pay-per-view as well. Carmella taking on Sasha Banks for the Smackdown Women's Championship. Baron Corbin picked up a win over Buddy Murphy, and Corbin had some backup. He had Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler from the Forgotten Sons. Obviously Jackson Riker nowhere to be seen. I'm pretty sure he is done with WWE. He has not been released from his contract, but I don't see him, with the amount of heat that was generated, I don't see Jackson Riker ever coming back to WWE TV unless something drastic happens. But yeah, Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler are now with Baron Corbin, so which is good for them, because I mean they did nothing to get the heat, but it fell on them because it didn't fall on them, but they suffered for it because they were part of the faction with Riker. So it was what it was. The Forgotten Sons were taken off TV and pretty much forgotten. And but it's great that they brought Blake and Cutler back. And putting them with Corbin, I think, works very, very well. So I'm curious to see where they're going to go with this alliance moving forward. And then in the main event, tag team match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso taking on Kevin Owens and Otis. Basically ended in a no contest. Otis was taken to the back in the middle of the match, apparently injured. And when the match was over, Roman Reigns beat down not only Kevin Owens, but also his cousin Jey Uso. So Roman was left, alone in the ring, standing tall with the Universal Championship. Some miscellaneous WWE news. It was announced this past week the new Performance Center class, and 3 members of that class are the 2 of the Rascals, Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz. So they are officially part of WWE. So the Rascals as a trio apparently are no more, because Trey Miguel was not a part of that announcement. And by all accounts, that's that was the rumor that was out there, that Dez and Wentz were going to WWE as a tag team, and Trey Miguel more than likely would probably end up in AEW. So, yeah, the Rascals as a trio, unfortunately, are no more, at least for the time being. And another part of the new Performance Center class is Alex Zane, another independent star that Charlie and I have called a number of matches for at Warrior Wrestling. So, huge congratulations to Dez, Wentz, and Zane, part of the new WWE Performance Center class. So let's get into preview and predictions for NXT Wargames coming up tonight. First of all, we've got Timothy Thatcher taking on Tommaso Ciampa. This is my early pick for match of the night. These 2 guys are going to beat the ever-loving hell out of each other, and it's going to be a fantastic match with these 2 guys. Then we've got Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes in a strap match. You know what? I'm going to pick Cameron Grimes for this match. I think he's somehow going to edge out the victory. I mean, Dexter Lumis has been dominant in this rivalry, but I think Grimes possibly may pull this one out by hook or by crook. Oh, and as far as Thatcher and Ciampa, I'm actually going to pick Thatcher to win this one. I mean, unless they're going to drag this rivalry out a little bit longer. It hasn't been going on that long. This is the first match. But if the rivalry is going to go beyond one match, then I would say Ciampa would pick up the victory. But if it's just going to be this one, one and done for these 2, which I hope it's not, I would say Thatcher would be the one to win. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Ciampa. You know what? I'm going to go with Ciampa on this because I think this rivalry is going to continue on for a little bit longer. So, yeah, Ciampa, I am thinking is going to pick up the win over Timothy Thatcher. Cameron Grimes is going to pick up the win over Dexter Lumis in that strap match. Then we've got a triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship. Leon Ruff defending against Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest. I'm going with the long shot on this one. I'm going to say Ruff is going to retain. I'm going to say Gargano and Priest are going to be so preoccupied with each other that Ruff is going to end up retaining the championship somehow. That's my pick. Then we've got 2 War Games matches. 4-on-4 matches. First one for the men, the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Bobby Fish taking on Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Danny Burch, and Oney Lorcan. Undisputed Era have competed in every War Games match that NXT has ever had. And I'm going to say Undisputed Era is going to pick up the win in this one. It's kind of a toss-up. It could go either way, but I'm going with Undisputed Era unless something crazy happens and one of the UE guys is actually with McAfee and we see a turn at some point during this match, then obviously I think McAfee's team would pick up the win. But barring that, I'm going to say Undisputed Era is going to pick up the win in this one. Then on the women's side, we've got Team Shotzi, which is consisting of Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and Io Shirai, taking on Team Candice, which is Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Toni Storm. I'm going to go with, you know what, I'm not sure, because we did see another Ghostface person, like I said, last week with Candice and Indy Hartwell. So, again, there's the potential somebody on Shotzi's team could end up turning on her at some point during this match. So if that happens, obviously I would say Team Candice would be the winners. But if it's a straight-up 4-on-4, no chicanery or shenanigans going on, then I'm going to say Team Shotzi picks up the win in this one. Moving on to AEW, we had the annual Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. The last 2 men standing in this match were MJF, the current holder of the Dynamite Diamond ring, and Orange Cassidy. So they will go one-on-one this coming week to see who the owner of the Dynamite Diamond ring will be for the next year. Now this one, it had, I guess, what you would call a false finish for a Battle Royal. Last 2 guys standing in the ring were MJF and Wardlow, which I was very excited about. I would have loved to have seen that match because that would have been, again, a perfect opportunity to split Wardlow off on his own. But, it turned out Orange Cassidy hadn't been eliminated. Cassidy got in the ring, ended up eliminating Wardlow, and we're left with MJF and Orange Cassidy for next week. Chris Jericho picked up a win over Frankie Kazarian in an awesome match between these 2 guys. But, Jericho and Kazarian, you would expect nothing less. Both guys, veterans and just ring generals, they really are. So just a great match between these 2 guys. And, seeing a lot of dissension within the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho's group. And Jericho basically got on the mic and said, you know what, I'm sick of all of this. Excuse me. And next week, we're either going to agree to all work together and get on the same page, or the Inner Circle is breaking up. So, I'm interested to see how that's going to go. I don't think the Inner Circle is going to break up at this point. They're too popular of a faction in AEW, and they're just too good. They're entertaining as hell. So I'm hoping the Inner Circle stays together. We saw the Young Bucks attacked by the Acclaimed and TH2 during an interview segment, and we found out that the Bucks will be taking on TH2 this coming week in a non-title match. But if TH2 does get the victory over the Bucks, they will get a tag team title match. Britt Baker picked up a win over Layla Hirsch, and but the big story here was Thunder Rosa coming in after the match, attacking Britt Baker, having a big pull-apart brawl between these 2 women. So that's definitely a match I'm sure that we're going to see coming up. I don't think they would hold that one off until the next pay-per-view, because that would be until February. So we'll definitely see Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker in the ring, I would think, on Dynamite at some point. Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin picked up a win over Team Taz, which consisted of Will Hobbs and Ricky Starks. Team Taz putting a beat down on Darby and Cody. Dustin tried to come out to help. Arn Anderson even caught a little bit of that beat down, and this is where we saw the emergence of Sting. Just an awesome segment. And Sting will be talking this coming week on Dynamite, getting interviewed by Tony Schiavone, so that should be a great part of the show. Then the main event, obviously, was the World Championship match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. Kenny Omega is the new World Champion, with some help from Don Callis and a microphone. And Kenny Omega will be appearing on Impact this Tuesday. So, Impact and AEW working together. opens a whole lot of doors and just opens up a lot of possibilities. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Moving on to Ring of Honor, had a great pure rules match between Josh Woods and Jay Lethal, and Josh Woods picked up the victory. A little bit of an upset, but a damn good match between these two guys. And then Brody King picked up a win over Shane Taylor, which basically makes him the number one contender for the Ring of Honor World Championship for the Final Battle pay-per-view coming up on December 18th, which we will have, I'll have a preview of that coming up next week. Moving on to Impact, Motor City Machine Guns defeated Triple XL. Ken Shamrock has been suspended for 30 days for the attack last week on D'Lo Brown, for putting his hands on an Impact official. Larry D from Triple XL was confronted by Tommy Dreamer, saying he was set up for the shooting of Johnny Bravo, and then proceeded to knock Tommy Dreamer flat out backstage. So, they're obviously still continuing this Who Shot Bravo thing with Larry D saying he was set up. So we'll see where this one's going. Jordan Grace and her surprise tag team partner Jazz picked up a victory over Renee Michelle and Killer Kelly in the Knockouts Tag Team Championship Tournament. So Jordan and Jazz moving on to the next round. Ethan Page laid out a challenge for Carl Anderson for Final Resolution. Carl Anderson accepted, so that match is going to be taking place, or has taken place actually. Final Resolution, Final Resolution I believe is coming up next week on Saturday, so I'll either have a results from that or a preview of that next week, one or the other. Eric Young and Joe Doring again just continuing to run roughshod over everybody in their path this week. It was Johnny Swinger and the Deaners catching the wrath of EY and Joe Doring. And Eric Young basically saying that, this world is ours, quote unquote. So not sure where this is going. Is Eric Young trying to get back to the World Championship, or are they just trying to dominate Impact? Either way, it seems to be working. Deonna Purrazzo and Kimber Lee set up Su Yung to be taken prisoner by the Undead Bridesmaids and Father James Mitchell. They lured Su Yung out to the ring. James Mitchell showed up at the top of the stage. The Bridesmaids came out, and the Bridesmaids and Deonna and Kimber Lee put a beating on Su Yung, and Su Yung was carried out by the Bridesmaids. So we'll see where this is going to go. But apparently, this is something that was set up by Deonna Purrazzo and Kimber Lee so that James Mitchell could, quote unquote, change their problem from a Sue problem to a Susie problem. So I think the next time we see Su Yung, we'll actually be seeing Susie again. So we'll see where this one's going. Rohit Raju managed to retain the X Division Championship against Crazy Steve. Willie Mack picked up a victory over Chris Bay in another great match. Moose came out to attack after the match. Rich Swann, the world champion, made the save. And then Chris Bay, basically hit Swann from behind. And so Chris Bay is in line to be the next challenger for Rich Swann's world championship. Some MLW news. We had two more Opera Cup matches in the first round. ACH picked up a win over Laredo Kid, so he moves on to the semifinals. And Low Key picked up the win over Davey Boy Smith Jr. So, in a rematch of the first round from last year's Opera Cup, where Davey Boy Smith was victorious, Low Key kind of got some payback this time and picked up the win over Davey Boy Smith. So Davey Boy Smith, last year's Opera Cup winner, is out of the tournament in the first round this year. And we also found out that next week we are going to see the debut of the tag team Violence is Forever, Dominic Guarini and Kevin Koo, who, they were at the last Warrior Wrestling show, and their name is definitely fitting. Violence is Forever for these two guys. So, yeah, they will be making their MLW debut this coming week. So that's going to do it for the news and rumors for this week. So right now I'm going to throw it over to Charlie G, and he is here with your Indie Cut.
Thank you, Tom, and hey to wrestling friends. I am Charlie G with your Indie Cut, and what was a rough week for my Park family and friends, and even a Saturday, so I'll do my best to get through this. Let's begin with Noah Premium Prelude, Day 6, from Friday, November 27th. few matches were Nasuwa Rangu and Takashi Sugiura defeating Go Shiozaki and Hajime Ohara. In an 8-man tag, Atsushi Koteji, Daisuke Harada, Kaito Kiyomiya, and Yoshiko Shiki Inomura defeated Hei Katsuko Nakajima, Kanu, and Tadasuke. Then it was to Dragon Gate, the Gate of Evolution, Day 9. The Ben Keg Homecoming Show. In 6-man tag, it was Dragon Kid, Suji Kondo, and Ultimo Dragon defeating Boku Arasmuzu, Noriko Idai, and Ryo Saito. That was a good match. I was able to see that. Shun Skywalker defeated Modeka Kikuta. Sasumi Yokosaka and Yusi Kanda defeated Kodo Minoru and KZY. And 8-man tag was Ben K, Dragon Dia, Jason Lee, and Kenshiko Okuda defeating Dia Inferno, Eita, SB Kento, and Takashi Yoshida. Then to the States for Pro South Wrestling in Piedmont, Alabama. For the new open title match, champion Ricky Cagle defeated Cody Windham. Interesting last name there. For the all-out title, champion Cameron Keese defeated Brandon Watley. And in their heavyweight title match, champion Tyler Culprit defeated Ace Haven. Then New Japan Strong Show 17, Road to Detonation. ACH and Juice Robinson defeated Adrian Quest and Jordan Clearwater. And an 8-man tag, Danny Limelight, JR Krotos, Russ Taylor, and Tom Lawler defeated Fred Rosser, Jeff Cobb, PJ Black, and Rocky Romero. That was a pretty decent show there. In CMLL, their pay-per-views, one of their final pay-per-view specials of the year, Princessa Suki defeated Rina Isis. Felino and Tiger defeated Black Panther and Blue Panther. In the Torneo La Enda da Azul 2020 Cybernetical match, Angel Diora won that. And in their CML World Heavyweight title, Ultimo Guerrero defeated Euphoria. Two falls to one. Okay, on to Saturday, November 28th. West Side Extreme Wrestling, Day 30. On Stardom, Maka defeated Raku. Natsupoi defeated Saki Kashima. Momo Watanabe defeated Mina Shirakawa. That was a pretty good match. The Cosmic Angels of Tam Nakano and Unagi Sasaka defeated Riho and Saya Ida. A nice match. The stars of Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid defeated Odatai of B. Priestley and Natsuka Tora by DQ. And in 6-man tag, it was Don Demondo of Julia, Himeka, and Siri defeating Queen's Quest of Azumi, Saya Kamatani, and Utami Hayashita. That was a really good match. Gotomu Chaka Pro number 69 took place. You can find that on YouTube. Dragon Gate, the Gate of Origin 2020. I'm not going to go through all these. 8-man tag, Masato Yoshino, Suji Kondo, and Ultimo Dragon with Gama defeated Boku Arasmuzu. Okay, another Smuzu. Punch Tamanaga and Ryo Saito. Shun Skywalker defeated Dragon Kid. And in the Triangle Gate title match, Kazuma Sakamoto, SB Kento, and Takashi Yoshida, who are champions, defeated Genki Hiraguchi, Susumi Yokosaka, and Yoshi Kanda. And then opened the Twin Gate title match, BB Hulk and Kai, who are champions, defeated KCY and Yamato. Those two were really good matches as well. I got to see that. Thanks to Big Willie. Then on to New Horizon Pro Wrestling in Australia. They have a title tournament for their hybrid title. So Cannon Connors defeated Salem 6, and Matthew Pace defeated Gorgeous Gary. So in their finals, it was Cannon Connors defeating Matthew Pace, become new champion. Up to ICW Fight Club number 147 from Scotland. That is they have a Lionheart team matches, and that is actually on the WWE Network of all places. So check that out if you can. Back here in the States for Metroplex Wrestling in Bedford, Texas. In a tag title match, Ryan Remington and Tommy Becker, who are champions, defeated J.D. Griffey and Matthew Palmer. In their most title match, champion Sky D. Lacrimoso defeated Wesley Crane. High Tension Wrestling, Camp Leapfrog, Sam Laterna's Slumber Party took place, where there was a Monsters Ball match with Big Kalex defeating CC Boost. H2O Wrestling Hardcore Hustle took place, where in a Relaxed Rules match, G. Raver defeated Connor Claxton. Coastal Championship Wrestling, Breaking Chains 2020. For their CC Ladies title, Roma defeated champion Marina Tucker to become the champion. Pure Power Wrestling from Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, where there was a guy named Travis Copeland defeating Brian Watts. Interesting last names there, you might say so. In their heavyweight title match, champion Sydney Steele defeated Storm Bringer. And then Legend Promociones in Mexico, it was Joe Linder and Mr. Aguila defeating Toscano and Ultimo Guerrero. We move to Sunday, November 29th, in Stardom again. Riho defeated Raku. B. Priestley defeated Kamatani. Cosmic Angels of Mina Shirakawa, Tam Nakano, and Unagi Sayaka, I'll get that name eventually, defeated Don Demundo of Himeka, Maika, and Natsupoi. And there was also Don Demundo of Julia and Siri, defeating Odatai of Natsuko Tora and Saki Kashima. And in Queen's Quest, there was Azumi, Momo Watanabe, and Utami Hayashita, defeating stars of Mayu Iwatani, Saya Ida, and Starlight Kid. And what was another solid show by Stardom. Then we move on to Sendai Girls, where they had a Sendai Girls one-day tournament, where the final was Dash Chisako defeating Chihiro Hashimoto. On to Oz Academy. I kept this for a reason. Team of Beast Friends of Aja Kong and Kuro Yonayama defeated Itsuko Oki and Tsubasa Kuragaki. Yoshiko defeated Kaiho Kobayashi. Then on to Noah, the New Hope show, where Keito Kiyomiya defeated Daisuke Harada. Then New Japan Best of the Super Juniors, Day 11. Go through those quickly. Ryusuke Taguchi got 6 points. El Desperado has 8. Sho has 8. Taji Ishimori has 10. And Hiromu Takahashi now has 10. On to Ice Ribbon, New Ice Ribbon 1084. Where they had a triangle ribbon title match where champion Ram Kaicho defeated Moki Miyagi and Takashita Fujimoto. For their Fantastic Ice title over the top rope match, champion Risa Sera defeated Yuki Masahiro. Goto Move Choco Pro 70 took place, also on YouTube. Mei Sugiura defeated Yuri, so check that out. DDT 30th anniversary of the Current Blast show took place. The main event was an Airtime Bomb and Current Blast Bat ×3 deathmatch, where Nasuwa Rangu and Takashi Sugiura with Hidetaka Monma defeated Atsushi Anita, Mecha Pandita, and Rambo Kiramura. Then DDT DOU Grand Prix in Osaka. B block matches were Kasada Higuchi with 5 points, Jun Yakiyama with 4, Tatsuya Endo with 7. A block matches were Hiroshima with 6, Mao with 4, and Chris Brooks now with 6. All Japan Real World Tag League Day 5 took place. Masato Tanaka and Tajiri, who have 4 points, defeated Jake Lee and Koji Iwamoto, who also had 4 points. In Zanagi and Sugihiro Iri have 2 points, defeating Abdullah Kobayashi and Daisuke Sakamoto, who had 6. And Kento Miyahara with Uma Ayagi has 2 points now, defeating Raiju Sai and Yoshitatsu, who have 2. Down to Future Wrestling Australia from New South Wales. Let's see. For their tag title match, I guess the champions Jude London and Paris De Silva defeated Donnie Mako and Rice Angel. There was a Lucha Memes show in Mexico where Black Terry defeated Aramis and Ariz defeated Trauma 2. Then there was a Chaos Loser Libre show also in Mexico. International Wrestling Revolution Group show actually also took place as well. Then Alliance Universal de Lucha Libre also had a show take place. So it looks like Mexico was pumping out a bunch of shows last week. Then there was an Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. Loud shows 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can get the Right Now TV network. Check those out if you can. I haven't found what time, but they have a bunch of names from AEW Dark and that southern region that you might want to take a look at. On to Monday, November 30th, Westside Extreme Wrestling Day 31, and New Japan World Tag League Day 12. So the Great Okan and Jeff Cobb got 8 points. Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi got 8 points. Tomohiro Ishii and Toriano got 10. They got 10. Okay, and Tamatanga and Tangaloa have 8. David Finley and Drew Robinson also have 8 points. Tuesday is December 1st. Westside Extreme Wrestling Day 32. Wave Nami 1 show took place. Tokiyoshi Pro Day 8. No real big matches, but Hyper Michio did defeat Raku, so she dressed in a wedding wedding gown for the match, so she's still back wrestling. Noah Premium Prelude Day 7 took place, where Go Shiozaki and Shuhei Taniguchi defeated Hideki Suzuki and Takashi Sugiura. In the States, New Studio Wars Show 4, where Thoroughbred defeated Richard Howdy by DQ. The NWA Shockwave first show took place. Now these are all the UWN Primetime Live shows taped from September 15th, at least the ones that are important to them, so check that out on YouTube. And then UWN Primetime Live show number 12, which was the last show of the year since they're going on holiday break to get everyone a little bit healthier, you might say. And since there's a lot of up in the air in the States now, we don't know what will be taking place within the next month, actually. So it was Fred Rosser defeating Richie Slade, Dave Boy Smith Jr. defeating Slice Boogie, Kevin Martinson defeating Dan Joseph, and the wrestling from Hollywood Heritage Heavyweight Title match, champion Jordan Clearwater defeating Jordan Cruz, and in their UWN Television title, Anthony Idol defeated champion Levi Shapiro by DQ. Wednesday, December 2nd, West Action Wrestling Day 33. New Japan Best of the Super Juniors. Doki got his first 2 points. Robbie Eagles got 6. Bushi got 8. El Desperado got 10. And Sho also got 10. Dragon Gate Fantastic Gate Day 1. Ben K, KZY, Strong Machine J, and Yoshi Santamaria defeated Gama, Kajitora, Teiko Kami, and Ultimo Dragon. Nice match. Ultimo Dragon can still go, so check those out if you can. Shun Skywalker defeated Shishumi Yosasakia. In a 10-man tag, Eita, HYO, Kaito Ishida, Modaka Kakata, and SB Kento defeated Dragon Kid, Masato Yoshino, Naruki Doi, Suji Kando, and Takeru Kamiya. We're going to try and get into Dragon Gate, folks. Don't bear with me. DDT had an extreme recapture strategy, one match show on YouTube. I won't spoil that. It was kind of sounds insane. I didn't get to watch it, but it is pretty short. So go check out DDT YouTube channel. There was an Actress Girls Tag Title Tournament first round matches that took place. Limitless Road Season 2 Episode 7. Yeah, nothing much there. Thursday, December 3rd, Aside Extreme Wrestling Day 34. That was the only thing on Thursday. Oh my goodness. Friday, December 4th, December Sunday Girls Neverwinter Show took place. DDT DOU Grand Prix and their Mishu. Block B matches for Yuko Uno with 4 points. Shunma Katsusamada with his first 2 points. Tuni Akiyama with 6. Yukio Sakaguchi with 6. A's were Kansuki Takeshita with 4. And Akito also with 4. New Japan World Tag League. Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. got 10. Hiroki Goto and Yoshihachi also got 10. David Finlay and Bruce Robinson with 10. Oh boy, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa also with 10. And Sonata and Shingo Takagi also with 10. Next weekend's to end, folks, and if all these are in a tie, this should be an interesting week to come. There was an H2O Mystery Violence Theater Act 2 show that took place. I believe I saw G. Raver defeated G.G. Everson. So it looked like G. Raver is back in action more and more, which is good to hear. On to earlier today, Saturday, December 5th, Total Triumph Team, Scramble Day 10, where Al Lindemann and T-Hawk defeated Jun Masaka and Kohei Kinoshita, and Shima defeated Shinsuke Sayama. Yeah, that's about all I know from there. Ice Ribbon, new Ice Ribbon 1085. Risa Sera defeated Rina Shingaki. Cherry defeated Yuki Masahiro. Gotomu Chaka Pro 71 took place on YouTube. And then New Japan Best of Super Juniors, which I just got done watching. Day 15 took place where Sho got 12 points, Doki got 4. And a bit of an upset, I might say. El Desperado got 12. There was a 6-man tag match, which I'm not sure why they threw that in there. Taji Ishimura with 12, and Hiromu Takahashi also with 12. So a bit of a 12 points bundled up there, so we'll see how that goes during the week. On to some news. Ohio Valley Wrestling has a pay-per-view later today. Check out their website if you want to, if you can, to find out information about that, since it will be past the time. GCW Slime season on Game Changer Wrestling YouTube, free, so check that out if you can, please, because it is pretty much a fundraiser show for the talent. Since COVID cases are going up, no one knows when the next real big show could be. Don't forget Mission Pro Wrestling is December 11th on Title Match Network, so help out Thunder Rosa promotion if you can there. And then Triple Mania News, it is going to be on the 12th on their Facebook and YouTube pages, so check out AAA Lucha Libre Wrestling for that, if you can. That's a wrap for me. Till next time, with any news or shows that come about, which should be slim with the COVID cases going up and shows having to cancel. So if you can help out your favorite indie wrestlers or promotions, now is the time to do so. Don't forget to look up those indie YouTube channels and Twitch streams, which now have Vicky Guerrero and Medusa. Medusa is pretty cool. She just talked to people last night. Thank you for watching or listening. Hope you enjoyed the cut. Keep safe. Take care. Wear a mask. Be kind, everyone. And stop the gun violence, everyone. Enough is enough already. Rest in paradise, Brother Alex. You will be missed. Back to you, Tom.
All right, thank you, Charlie. So let's move on to the next segment of the show here, where I get to play kind of armchair promoter and have a little bit of fun. And yeah, we are continuing on with the CHS Faction Tournament, and I'm talking about the Fantasy Booker. Alright, so this week we have the final match in round 2 of the CHS Faction Tournament, and it is the Radicals taking on the Bullet Club. The Radicals, of course, Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, and the Bullet Club consisting of Prince Devitt, or Finn Balor, Bad Luck Fale, Tamatanga, and Carl Anderson. Yeah, now this was a straight up 4-on-4 match. It would tear the roof off of any arena in the world. Honestly, it would be ridiculous. But you know, unfortunately, that's something that can never happen. But yeah, in this particular case, I gotta give the edge to the Bullet Club again for, you know, same reasons that I said in their first round victory against SCU. Just their longevity. They've been around for a long time in New Japan, and have been at the very top of New Japan. They've had a lot of kind of members rotating in and out, a few different leaders, but the faction itself, the Bullet Club, has so far stood the test of time in New Japan and is still one of the top factions over there. So I gotta give them the edge over the Radicals, which was a relatively short-lived faction in WWE, and the Bullet Club has produced there have been so many just huge superstars in the Bullet Club at one point or another. I mean, you're talking AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, like I said, there's just been so much evolution over time as far as members and leaders and things like that with the Bullet Club, and they have stuck around. So Bullet Club moving on to the semifinals, which will begin next week. So the two semifinal matchups are the Four Horsemen taking on the Fabulous Freebirds, which will be next week, and the Elite taking on the Bullet Club. That's a fantasy matchup in anybody's book. I don't care who you are. So, your semifinals for the CHS faction tournament are set. Again, like I said, next week it'll be the Horsemen taking on the Freebirds, and then the following week the Elite taking on the Bullet Club. So should be interesting. I would love to see some of these matchups for real. But anyway, so moving on to the final segment of the show here, where I give my my opinion, be it popular or not, and I am talking about the weekly hot take. All right, so this is my hot take for this week. I want to see more wrestling promotions cooperating, working together, having working relationships. We saw it this week with AEW and Impact. Obviously, you're going to be working together to some extent moving forward. I want to see more of this. I mean, it can only, if it's done right and if all parties are on the same page, it can only be good for wrestling, and especially for wrestling fans. I mean, with Impact and AEW working together, I said it a little while ago, it opens up so many doors and so many possibilities. It gives the opportunity for the Impact Knockouts division maybe to give a little bit of a boost to the AEW women's division, which admittedly is not, the most impressive women's division in wrestling. So there's that potential right there is huge for AEW. And then you've got, the potential of like the Young Bucks, showing up in Impact. They haven't been there in a number of years since they were Generation Me. And matches like the Young Bucks versus the Motor City Machine Guns, or you've got the Good Brothers, who are the Impact Tag Team Champions, and the Young Bucks, who are the AEW Tag Team Champions, and both of these teams former members of the Bullet Club, and would they be allies, will they be opponents? Just so much opportunity there. Your two world champions, Kenny Omega and Rich Swann, my God, what a dream match that would be. So just so much potential and so many opportunities for just some amazing things to happen with AEW and Impact. And I want to see more of it. You've got AEW working with Impact. You've got AEW also working a little bit with the NWA right now. There's been some crossover between AEW and MLW in the past. I'd like to see that continue. Impact, I'd love to see Impact and Ring of Honor working together, which would open a door for Ring of Honor and AEW to work together. Of course, like the Young Bucks, Cody, were big in Ring of Honor before the start of AEW. I'd love to see Impact and MLW work together. You see it a little bit because with TJP being a part of the Opera Cup tournament. Now, that doesn't mean there's a working agreement between Impact and MLW. It just means TJP is free to, take outside bookings. But, every wrestling company outside of WWE, there's no reason why there can't be working relationships and crossover. And I'm not saying, every single week I want to see somebody from a different promotion in, another promotion or whatever. No, but, just leave those doors open. You've got the NWA, you've got AEW, Impact, MLW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, AAA. These are the big-time players in pro wrestling around the globe that are, like I said, outside of WWE. I would love to see just collaboration by all of these groups. And, with AEW and Impact announcing that they do have a working agreement, of course, the question was posed to Triple H during an interview, well, what about WWE working with, other wrestling companies? And Triple H basically said, "Oh, we're open for business," and but it has to be a situation that makes sense in the long term and things like that. WWE is not going to work with anybody else. I'm sorry, Vince is not going to work with anybody else. Let me be more specific. I think Triple H would be open to the idea. Maybe not with Raw or SmackDown wrestlers, but I could see, I'd love to see maybe a crossover between NXT and Ring of Honor. Like, so much WWE talent has come from Ring of Honor over the last 10 years or longer. So I would love to see that. Maybe a little bit of crossover between NXT and Ring of Honor, or NXT and MLW, or they've you've had some New Japan influence in past years with NXT, with Jushin Thunder Liger making an appearance on an NXT takeover, but I think that was just kind of to work him into WWE, for before his retirement or whatever. But still, there was there had to be some type of cooperation between WWE and New Japan for that to happen. So I would love to see WWE crossing over with some other companies out there. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Vince McMahon would allow it because, Vince doesn't share, guys. That's just how it is. I mean, Vince does not share his toys. So it is what it is. But I want to see, I think every fan wants to see, the crossover between different wrestling companies, the cooperation, the collaboration. And I'm not saying go out and create another Super Clash pay-per-view, because anybody who remembers those Super Clash shows remembers what a just a disaster that they were. Just didn't work with multiple promoters trying to put on a single show like that. But short of that, I would love to see more collaboration between the wrestling companies out there. So that's going to do it for this week. Next week coming up, I will have preview and predictions for Ring of Honor Final Battle, as well as whatever happens with Sting this coming week on AEW, the results of NXT Wargames coming up tonight. So that's all coming up next week. But for right now, I'm going to sign off. Hope everybody has a great week. Enjoy Wargames tonight. Enjoy all the great wrestling coming up in the next week. And I will talk to you guys soon.